Don Dokken, thank you so much for joining me here today. It looks like another lovely day over at the property. How are you doing and how's life right now?
Life is good. I mean, today's not so good. I'm looking outside and all the trees around the house are like bending over. It's like 16-mile-an-hour winds up here.
Oh,
It's kind of
wow.
crazy. All night they're banging against the house and they said hurricane force winds. And I'm looking outside going, oh man, oh well, it's supposed to snow tomorrow, so I think we'll be hunkering down. I mean, I live at the top of a mountain and just my driveway is a mile long,
Wow.
so if it snows, no guarantees I'm getting out for the show.
Average day in the life. So you mentioned being on the road. Let's talk a little bit about that. How were the recent shows? You guys had one in with George Lynch and then a couple other gigs as well.
We've done a lot of shows with George as special
Yes.
guest. He comes on stage at the end of the show, does a couple songs, and that's the way it is. So in fact, I think he's playing with us this weekend. I honestly, I don't pay attention, about who's playing with us, who's not playing with us. I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about Dawkins, and that's what we do. Let me see. I'll tell you what we're doing. No, it's not in my email. So we just, sometimes George shows up and sometimes he doesn't. It just depends who the agent is and books us. And I just concentrate on my boys and I.
Yeah. So you're just worried about showing up for the show and giving the best performance possible.
Of course. And that's why we always, people say, oh man, it's just a one off. You just hop on a plane and go to the show and do the show and get up in the morning and fly home. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You always have to fly in a day before because you don't know what's going to happen. Like supposedly tomorrow is supposed to have a snowstorm. Maybe I won't get out. Maybe the airport's shut down. Maybe God knows what. Nobody knows. So, and we got half my band live in Connecticut. John lives in LA now. I'm in New Mexico. So we always leave a day early. So when they say it's a one off, it's really a five off. You got a
Exactly.
fly day, next day you got a show day, then the next day you got another show, then another day to fly home. And then when you get home, you lick your wounds because you're burned out.
Yeah, and that's something that we sort of discussed a little bit in our last interview. You gave, obviously an update on your health and not only your challenges with health and all of that, but what was happening with the rest of the band as well. So, fast forwarding now almost 2 years later, talk to me about the experience being out on the road, obviously with your arm being paralyzed. Is it still mostly paralyzed?
Yeah, it's gone. See, it's
Okay.
good hand,
Right.
nothing. But that's what happens. God doesn't guarantee us a perfect life. So it happened. It was tragic. And, I lost, it's like losing the love of your life. But I can still sing. So I'm doing okay.
How have you guys as a band really bounced back from everything that's happened and maybe talk to us about going through that experience as a band and getting to where you guys are at now? Because I mean, even in the last 5 years, you guys have come a long way, at least personally and health wise.
Well, it was perfect because, John Levin's a great guitar player. Chris is great. BJ's great. And luckily I had this, I guess I'll call it a hard drive of all this material I had written over the years, that never made it on a record. And so we just started digging through it and going, oh, that's a cool riff. That's a cool riff. And then plus 4 years of rehab and a lawsuit because the doctor was a butcher at Cedar Sinai. And he said, basically, he just said, oh, well, sorry. See, you paralyzed my arm. I'm a guitar player. I play piano. I can't even hold a pen. And he just basically said, sorry. And that's
Wow.
surgeons. They are the most cold-blooded doctors. They're way worse than a regular doctor. Surgeons take a scalpel, split you open. They make a mistake. They say, shit, oh well. That's really the way it is.
Wow. So was it public knowledge that you had taken legal action? Because actually, a lot of people asked that in the comments of our last interview. They said, "Did Don pursue this?" So the answer is yes.
Yes, over 4 years.
Yeah.
And just a couple months ago, the judge dismissed it. And
Really?
I said, well, how do you dismiss this? There it is. There's my arm. It's all fucked up. And and the judge said, well, there's no smoking gun. And I went, smoking gun? What does that mean? My arm's paralyzed. That's how much more smoking can it be? And I learned a big lesson about the legal system and judges who are having lunch with the doctors and everybody's buddy, buddy, buddy. And they drugged me out for 4 years because there was COVID. I couldn't believe it. I thought this is a no-brainer. You know, my attorney was like the top attorney in the United States. And they couldn't find anything in the radiology and MRIs that he had nicked my spinal cord. And I said, well, here's the proof right here. You don't need any more proof. This is it. And I couldn't believe it. And then they offered me, they said, well, if you want to contest this and go on for 4 more years and spend a couple $100,000, we'll fight it. And I
Wow.
said, you know what? I need to move on in my life, you know? And my daughter was the voice of reason. She said, Dad, you played for 50 years. You've been playing since you're 10 years old. And, you had a great career and you're still singing. And you just got to live with it, But there's beyond playing guitar or piano, there's so many things I can't do. Gardening, picking up a rake, mowing the lawn, cutting the trees, my 8 bazillion trees I got to trim. And so it's behind me now. I have to move on and let the depression and the anger mostly go. Because if you're angry what he did to me, then he wins.
Right.
He
Because he's still
wins.
taking up space in your mind.
Yeah. Every time I go to pick up a fork, I'm right-handed and I go and I drop it. The only people that are happy about my my arm being paralyzed is one of my dogs, Elka. Because
Really?
every time I sit down at the couch or something to eat dinner with my missus, it's hilarious. She's just laying under the coffee table waiting. And she's got her little puppy. She's a big ass shepherd. And she's got her big, gives me the puppy dog look like, please drop some food, you know. So I don't have to worry about dropping shit. She just licks her right up.
So at least there's that, the self-cleaning vacuum here.
Dog, yeah, I got a vacuum dog with a heartbeat.
I love
So
that.
it happened. I have to move on, and if I let it eat me up, then I lose. So I have to move
Yeah.
on. And I feel after 50 years and 13 records, I figure I've written enough music. I mean, I'm okay with it. Plus, I still have John and Chris and BJ, and they all write. So never say never. Maybe George Lynch and I will get together and run an EP.
Oh, really? Is that something that you've discussed?
No, not well. George and I did talk about it briefly, and I said I don't think I have the energy in me spiritually to knock out a whole record. That's a lot of work. But I said we might want to, you know, uh, do 4 or 5. We did a new songs 8 years ago. It was
Yeah.
called Just Another Day. That was all original members, and we went to Japan, and that was an experiment to see how we got along and all that. So, and that was a cool video. But the world's changing quickly, my friend. With the government and politics and all this stuff going on with people getting fired and losing their jobs. And I'm just like, man, what happened to the world? The world's just changed. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm glad I'm a musician. That's what I'm
Seriously.
happy.
The world's crazy when you feel job security being a musician.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a zero. I'm lucky back in the days, we were lucky if they just fed us.
That's it, right? So I want to jump back to one thing you said about the music. Are you telling us that you're not planning on releasing any more new music under Dokken?
Correct.
Okay. And
First,
was
first
this
time I said
decided?
that.
That's the first time you said that. When did you come to that conclusion?
Um, I don't know. I think I was talking to George because he does shows with us sometimes. He's got a show coming up called George Lynch and the Mob, and we had talked about doing a record, and I said, but if you listen to the last five George Lynch projects, they're totally different than the direction I'm going. Heaven Comes Down has nothing to do with what George is doing. He's gone this way, I've gone that way. So I don't know if spiritually we could get together and write a song that works, that we're all on the same page about. I'm just not. So it is what it is. But I said what I would want to do is, let's say I say, hey George, why don't you write me like four guitar riffs and let me see if one speaks to me in my heart and my spirit, just like the song Just Another Day when we did, what is it, been 8 years?
Hmm.
And we wrote that one song, all original members, Mick and everybody. Obviously, we could never, uh, Mick's retired and he's pretty stonewall about he's not going to play again. He played since he was 10 years old. He's 70s ish. And I understand that because he's worn out. And I mean, I've always said the drummers have the hardest job. Your elbows, your hands, arthritis, your kneecaps, your ankles, your feet, your back. I mean, the drummer has the hardest gig. I can just
Yeah.
stand there, stare up the ceiling and go, hey, everybody, how's it going? Or even when there's a guitar player, you can just stand there and play. But Mick is the machine. Mick was the Dokken machine. While Mick go out there and I should tell him, play softer, don't hit your drum so hard. And he says, I don't know how not to play hard to keep his time because I just hit. So it caught up with him and he retired. So we'll see what happens. George and I have like touched on it, but it would all depend on him writing like three songs,
Right.
just music, and sending it to me. And I go in my recording studio and set on the pen and paper and go, oh, this is kind of cool. And chop it up and try to make it fit myself and crank out a couple of songs. And if people like it, they like it,
Yeah.
you know. But if they
So when
don't,
it,
they
if
don't.
they don't, yeah, it would be something mostly for you. So outside of, let's say, a potential collaboration with George, do you consider yourself to be retired from recording music and just being a touring artist at this point, or are you not at the retirement point yet?
Yeah, I'm almost to retirement.
Okay. And do you have a timeline in mind potentially for the live shows? Because obviously people are still very much enjoying the concerts. They want to come out and see you.
Probably within the year. I
Wow.
mean, what's Paul McCartney in his 80s?
Yes.
And Mick Jagger's in his 80s, and Keith Richards is still standing up, and even Elton John now, they bring him down and he lower him down to his piano chair because for whatever reason, because we're all getting up there in age. And so I think, that time will come that I'll announce that it's over.
Yeah.
The truth is, I guess I'm a selfish person. I want to enjoy my life. I don't want to just keep singing and writing until I drop. I want to be in my home, far away from everybody. I live on top of this mountain, no neighbors, got the dogs. It's the perfect life. And I've had a great career. I start playing at 10 years old. You know, at some point, if you have to tour and you have to play because you need to pay your gas bill. I understand that. Thank God I'm not in that position. And whenever anybody says, "Are you thinking of, calling it a day?" I just go like this.
Yeah.
I've got a few of them up there.
One or two, right?
Yeah, one or two and a half.
That's
So I
incredible. I
think
mean,
I've made my point. I think I made my point musically, and of course I would have wanted to keep going, but if I can't compose, I'm screwed. I am effed, you know, because John's a great guitar player, Levin, and he writes music, and he wrote a couple songs in the new album, and I picked this part and this. I'm kind of like a chameleon. I'm a producer, songwriter, engineer. I
yeah.
just sit, listen. I say, "What do you got, John?" And John gives me a couple ideas. When we wrote this album, it was kind of funny. He had like three songs in the can, but he didn't want to play them for me.
Hmm.
And I said, "Well, really?" And he goes, "Yeah, you're not gonna like it." And I said, "Well, play them for me anyway. I mean, you never know." And I can't remember exactly what song it was, but um he played the riff to Saving Grace, the new video,
Hmm.
and he didn't want to play it for me. So
Really?
nope. And because it's Zeppelin-y kind of vibe. And I said, I like that, So all of a sudden I grabbed a piece of paper and started singing in my microphone and scatting out the lyrics, and we ended up with a great song. But he didn't want to play for me.
That's nuts.
Trippy.
And the video turned out really well also. I mean, people are loving the video.
Yeah. And when we put out the first video, almost over a year ago, which was Fugitive that we filmed at Meow Wolf, we got over a million views. That's a lot.
Insane. Yeah, especially when you guys are putting this out and this is directly to the consumer, directly to the fans. I mean, that's massive.
Yeah, it's not like we have a huge multi-billion-dollar record company, pushing us. And I thought that was
Exactly.
cool, I mean, I was shocked. Chris Ayers, the director, and Tom Strickfaden, who's done a lot of docu videos, and I really wasn't watching, to be honest with you. And they're like, "Dude, you're at 500,000." And I was like, "Nah." And he called me 2 days later. Chris Ayers, who's a very well-known director, who was directing the show Dark Winds, and Tom Strickfaden did Live at the Sun and acoustic album, and I'm like, "Dude, that thing's just going through the roof." Oops, sorry. And I
Yeah,
go,
that's okay.
"You're kidding me." And they go, "You're kidding me." I go, "No." And they go, "Dude, people are digging that song Fugitive, And they keep asking, "Where in the hell are they?" Because we did that on purpose. It's like Meow Wolf's a pretty surreal place. It's like a
Yeah.
big acid trip. Now they're building one in Vegas, one in Colorado. And you just kind of walk through this giant warehouse with all this trippy stuff. People should check out Fugitive too.
Yes.
But after we did two animated videos, Over the Mountain and what was it, Gypsy, I said, I think our fans are ready for us live on stage and not just animation. AI, basically. But
Right.
that's what
So you
everybody's
wanted to give
doing
them the experience. No, you're right.
of the
Everybody's doing
band on
AI
stage.
now.
The whole world's AI.
It's insane. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you worry about that at all?
No, I think it's a good thing because then you can become more creative.
Yeah.
I'm going to get ready to start delving into AI where, uh, I have seen so many producers send me their clips. I'm like, they actually did a shot of me on a pirate ship and I'm singing the words, but it's my face. And I
Nice.
was going, holy shit, how'd you pull that off? All these things now, they're these idiot morons that have low IQs where they put a video out and go, Johnny Depp, caught on camera having sex with Heather Locklear. It's fake,
Yeah.
but it looks so real you can't tell, because it's all come so far in AI. Great example was God, what was that movie when they're racing cars and Paul Walker, he
Fast and
starred
Furious.
Fast and Furious. Well, he died in that accident before they did the next movie, but he's in the movie.
Right. They edited a lot of parts of him in, right, with AI.
They actually took his face and deep faked him. Sorry, I'm stepping away. And I thought,
Sure.
wow, the world's changed, you know? That's why there's a lot of pushback on people going, well, that's not fair. You can't use my face.
Yeah.
It's my face, you know? So a lot of pushback, but it's getting so sophisticated. You know, yeah, dude, I saw this sex tape of Johnny Depp sleeping with so and so and on video, and it's not real.
It's
It's deep
completely
fake.
fake. Did
Yeah,
you
so
see did you see that Kiss actually announced that they wanted to continue as AI versions of themselves in the future?
no, I
Yeah, that
didn't.
was the recent announcement. There's been some positive reaction from fans, but other people have sort of slammed it. Um, I mean, I guess would you ever consider doing a musical version of AI? And I guess to add to the question, do you think that that is sort of disingenuous to pull maybe after retirement, so to speak, a farewell tour?
No, that's not. They can't do that. You know, I mean, they can. You know, they're superstars, but you go to a concert, you want to feel the music at the moment. You want to be
Yeah.
immersed in the song and their body language at the moment, not AI. It's not real, you know? On the situation of Paul Walker, I mean, they didn't have a choice. He had
Yeah.
passed away. But I wouldn't want to go see I saw the Dio AI.
Oh,
Dio
you
did
did?
an AI concert. Yeah. They had a girl who looked like Ronnie, acted like Ronnie, had his stage moves down, and they did like an AI concert with some girl deep faking Ronnie. And that was kind of a
Really?
trip, but it was an experiment. I think they only did it once. But you know, we want to see Ronnie.
Yeah.
So I think put the kibosh on that.
Do you think that it gets to a certain point where for a band doing things like this is dragging it too far? I mean, you spoke a few moments ago about how you want to sort of end things on your own terms, enjoy your own life, and not basically beat music into the ground. Why do you think so many of these guys do this?
I don't know. I think it's greed, you know.
Hmm.
Hey, we're all done. People are not really digging us. Let's just keep going and we'll make it AI and we'll get away with it. And that doesn't make any sense to me. It's not a concert. I can't imagine Metallica doing an AI concert. Let's put it that way. I mean, that's silly to me because it's not just them on stage, AI or real. It's about the energy they're putting out there, their body language, the way they're playing, what they're saying. It's all, intermingled. I see Kiss or even Metallica, who's the biggest band in the world. I can't imagine them doing an AI video and it's not them. And as soon as the word's out, it's over.
Yeah.
Would you? How about you? Would you go see Metallica fake versions of themselves?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I may have a bit of a bias with Kiss because I grew up as a huge fan of theirs, but I mean, it doesn't sound
Right?
anywhere near as exciting to me as the real thing.
It's not the same. We did the Kiss cruise last year, and that's all I'll say about that.
Right. Fair enough. We could leave that part there. So maybe going back to let's say during the 80s, a friendly competition or rivalry. Who do you think at that time period you guys had the biggest competition or potential rivalry with in terms of another band?
80s?
Yeah,
Oh, Van Halen.
Van Halen. And do you think that was everybody at the time or was that just something that was happening for you guys?
Well, they were the Kings. I mean, they sold out every place they played. And I was always, every club owner going, can we open for Van Halen? Nope. Will you pay us? No. And I just had to like beg to open up for them and Quiet Riot. They were really big. And I'm like, look, you just give us 30 minutes, just give us 30 minutes and I want to play with Quiet Riot or Van Halen because I knew that it was going to happen. You could just see it. The first time I ever saw Van Halen, my mouth fell open because I'm a guitar player. And when I saw Eddie playing, it was new. Nobody was using two hands on the neck, tapping.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of guitar players that claim that, but they're full of shit, you know? And there's a lot of guitar players that are now tapping, as they call the Red Beaches and the Paul Gilberts and the new Betancourts and Yngwie Malmsteens. And that list is long and varied, right?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, when I saw Van Halen and we opened up for them, and I remember our first show with them, it was some weird ballroom at the LA airport called the Proud Bird. Very strange place.
Wow.
And if you're going down Sepulveda, you'll see all these jet planes and Russian planes and fighter jets, and they're all parked in a field. And it was kind of like a ballroom. And we played with Van Halen, and I knew who they were, but I really hadn't seen them. And then when I saw them play, I went, oh my God. Because we were a three-piece. It was Juan Crucier and me and Greg Pickett. When I saw Van Halen the first time, and I'll being honest, I was the singer and the lead guitar player. And after that show, I thought, okay, now I'm a singer.
Wow, really? He was
Yeah,
that deadly live.
hand to God, I thought, there's no way I will ever be as good as Eddie Van Halen. I don't care if I practice till the cow come home. And that's when I switched over to just vocals at that point, about a year and a half later. Because he was just so, nobody had ever seen that before, with playing with 8 fingers on a neck.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just mind-boggling. And we played with him a lot. We played with him about 5 times. Hate to interrupt you with the ice coming out.
That's okay.
And I mean, I just stood there in awe, in awe, because I couldn't understand what I was hearing because I was kind of up on this little balcony and I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I'm hearing two guitar players. And so I kind of poked my head out and I'm going, but they only have one guitar player.
Where's the other guy?
Yeah, I'm like, who's playing the rhythms? And that's the first time I saw Eddie Van Halen tapping, as they call it.
Wow.
And I thought, what, I didn't even know what it was. I was more of a traditional guitar player. I came from the school of Richie Blackmore. Uh, when I was 13, I saw Woodstock. And when I saw, who the fuck was it? The guy, Alvin E, 10 years after. And he's going, doodle-da, doodle-da, bam, bam, doodle. I mean, he is hauling ass. And for that time in 1967 or 8, to see Alvin Lee just shredding was considered shredding then. I was like, wow. So
Right.
that kind of inspired me. And of course, there was Mountain and
Mhm.
Leslie West. He was great. But, I was 14 years old.
Yeah. And it
So
still
in
made
all
that
honesty,
massive impression though.
I actually stood in line to see the movie Woodstock. And we went
Really?
out afterwards. I think we got some burgers and we went right back and got in line again.
Went to see it again? That's
Yeah,
so
same
amazing.
night. I wasn't, I couldn't grasp it all, what he was doing.
Wow. Would you say Woodstock was as amazing as people talk about it being? Did it live up to that? Because I mean, as somebody who never got to experience it, I could only dream of seeing that.
Yeah, you were just a little kid. You weren't born yet.
Nope.
The truth is, Woodstock was the end of an era. It was the end of the hippie days, love, free sex, free love. Women are running around the film with their boobs hanging out and naked and sliding through the mud. And me being 13 or 14, whatever I was just like mesmerized. Because before that, when I go to concerts and I saw every band on the planet, uh, by luck, I can't go into that, but I'd seen Jefferson Airplane, Moby Grape, and Quicksilver Messenger Service, and Janis Joplin, all these bands I'm naming that people are going, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? And I saw them all. And I was just like, wow. And they had these like light shows where they put oil in this machine and all the psychedelic shit signing on the, it's like you see in the old videos, psychedelic walls. And I was blown away when you're 13, 14.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And it inspired me to go right back home and say, Mom, I'm going to practice. I'll try to keep it down.
So you knew that's what you wanted to do because that was going to be my next question. Did you know you wanted to be up there doing that at the time? I know you were playing since 10, but some people maybe don't put it together that they want this to be their life.
I didn't, either. I didn't. When I saw that, I thought, oh man, this would be so awesome to do this.
Yeah.
I'd love to be on stage and play guitar and sing. And yeah, I was like, I wish I could do this, but it really wasn't in my head. I
Right.
mean, that dream was so far away. That was like me saying, I want to go to Mars, you know.
Right. At the
And
time, I
whenever
think it seemed
I
less attainable too, right? Because there was less people who had really made it big.
yeah, I mean, there wasn't 10,000 bands, there was 20,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, there wasn't that many bands out. And but I wasn't thinking like maybe a lot of people like, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to sell millions of records and make millions of dollars. And that wasn't in my head. I was just loving that feeling of going on stage and feel the rush. If I even got three people to clap, I was happy.
There you go. Just getting somebody there. Now I know we're coming short on time. I just wanted to get this question in as well. Obviously, you're well known for your incredible vocal range all throughout your career. I'm
Mhm.
curious which song, if you can remember, really took you the most takes in the studio to actually nail either a certain part or the entire song, and why?
Oh, that's easy. Lightning strikes again.
Okay.
At the end of the song, you go, lightning, lightning, only soprano. And I tried it about three times, and I said to Michael Wax, I said, dude, I'm going to give you one more take, and then my head's going to explode because it was like a B flat above A. It was soprano, and I was singing lightning, lightning, lightning. And I was like, it was too high, but I was young, and I could do it. But I said, I'm going to give you a couple takes and then I'm just going to fall over. So, as far as the whole, if you go and listen to Lightning Strikes Again, the whole verse, all the lyrics, everything is in a really high range.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that was uh, Jeff trying to punk me, like, well, let's write this and raise it up an octave, and Don won't be able to sing it. So I'll get to sing it. And I was like, nope, no, I'll sing it. Same with Dream Warriors. That was a
Mm.
mother to sing. We were dream warriors. Only an octave higher, two octaves. And it was really, really hard for me to do. So
Wow.
I've had plenty of songs that were hard to sing, but
Yeah.
you just do it. You just do it.
You
And then you
don't
go
give
off,
up.
no, you do it. I'm going to nail this. And and Dieter was hard on me when I worked with him, Michael Wagner. They goes, dude, you came so close to hitting the note. And I go, and I actually made a joke once. I said, if I'm that close, can't you just tweak it a little bit and get me right on the money? They hadn't invented Autotune yet.
Exactly.
Now all these chicks and R&B chicks and dudes, and every time I listen to this stuff, it's all Autotune.
Yeah.
It's not them. They're not real. They're singing perfectly, but all their voices sound exactly the same because
Would
they
you
just
ever
turn
try it
it.
yourself in this, even just for fun?
Yeah, I fucked with it.
And that must have been really weird for you to listen to that.
I didn't want to do it. I remember I was producing XYZ and I was producing their record and with Michael Wagner and Win Davis. And I said, Terry was having a problem hitting a couple of notes. And I said, don't worry about it. We'll just auto tune it. I just made that up. There was no such thing as auto tune, you know. There was that inside out. And it was high. And he goes, I don't do harmonies. So I sang the harmonies. He did the lead vocals. And we said, don't worry about it. We'll fix it. How are you going to fix it? I go, oh, we have this thing over here in the racks called an auto tuner. And it all became, it became real,
Right.
auto tune. You listen to anybody now, and especially the R&B people, it's all auto tune. It's not them. I mean, I've had producers, I won't say who they were, but I've had producers come in and say, we did so and so artist and so artist, and they came in and did it in 2 takes and left. And
Wow.
and I go, and he was out of key, and the guy R&B or whatever goes, all right, I'm done. You guys fix it. Fix it. So you just take the words, you just fix them in tune. They have a button, it's called a sweep. So you just sing the song one time, you put it what key it's in, and you put it on sweep, and it takes all your vocals and puts them perfectly in tune.
Wow.
That's cheating.
Seriously, imagine if you had that back in the 80s. Now, here's the question. Would you have used it if you had it? Do you think?
No.
Right.
I had a problem with my singing because my vibrato was so heavy. So if you go, that'll work. But if you go, hey, vibrato, the auto tune would go all crazy.
Right.
You know, I'd be going, I think I'd be going, so I had to sing it. Plus, as Michael would say, sometimes imperfection is the best perfection. Do you think Brian Johnson sings every note perfectly? No,
No.
you know, he's a great singer, but that's bullshit. But and where's the fun in that? You come
Exactly.
in, all right, the song's 4 minutes long. I'll give you 2 takes. I'm out of here.
That's it.
That's not working. It's not, let me try this, or let me try that, or let me try this different melody or this melody. That's the beauty of creating music. You
Yeah.
sing something by accident, and I'm like, wait a minute, that was cool. Rewind that.
Exactly. Metal's never
That's
been about perfection.
right. That's sometimes perfection is imperfection. I can
Mm.
name you 10 songs that they're flat, they're sharp, they're out of the pocket, the bass is out of tune a little bit, but it works. That's what
Yeah.
gave the magic of the song.
I love that. I love being able to see the bigger picture past just the perfect, top layer. I know we're gonna wrap here. I just wanted to ask Don, before we do, what's one message that you have for your fans, for the people who've supported you all through, your entire career, who are still here watching right now? Is there anything that you'd like to share with them about, what's coming up for you guys?
I think the most simple word to say is thank you. I mean, I can go on a diatribe and bow down and say thank you, all you millions of fans, but I think the most simplest way to say after 45 years is thank you. You gave me a life. You gave me a career. even after I got paralyzed, I still have a career. I can still sing. I mean, just thank you. I mean, we played last week, sold out. We're playing this weekend, sold out. Played last month, sold out. Every time I do it, I'm like, this is amazing. you know, there's a time in the 90s we weren't selling that many tickets. So now there's this resurgence of melodic rock and hard rock, metal, everything. So that's my answer. Thank you.
I love that, Don. And on behalf of all the fans, we thank you for all the years of entertainment and joy that you've brought us through the music.
I am so grateful. Trust me, it's not a pretentious thing. I am so grateful that I went 50 years and I'm still kind of kicking.